Welcome everybody, Jaynie Morris here, BoomerBabesLife Global Community for Women over 50. What do? Well, we're igniting and inspiring the voices of women over 50 around the world. Why? Because you're keeping too damn silent and you need to get off your butts and get out there. So I'd love to welcome you to our latest Sheroes Unlimited series. Now this one's a little bit different to what we normally do because now we're taking you behind the book. What does that mean? Well, we are going to be interviewing a lot of amazing women over 50 who have written books, started writing books, and we're going to be bringing all of those books to you in, of course, our BoomerBabesLife monthly magazine, as well as on our websites. You'll be able to order the books after you've seen the girls on the Sheroes Unlimited Behind the Books series. I'm really excited to kick off our series with an amazing, she is now officially a Boomer Babe because she is over 50, but not that long ago is my understanding. A little birdie told me. She's an amazing woman. We were just chatting offline and we met in person briefly a few months ago at her brother's birthday party. And it's been great to catch up with her. May issue of the BoomerBabesLife magazine. She's actually our cover story. So anything that you miss out of this Sheroes Unlimited episode today, you can fill in all the gaps when you check out that article. So I'd love you to welcome with me. You can do your little silent claps at home. We'll still hear you. I'd like you to help me welcome the amazing Hilde Hinton. Hilde, thank you so much for joining us.
Oh, thanks for having me. Hello.
Really excited. Now we're going to be talking about your debut book. Oops, we're getting the light right there. Hopefully, yes. The Loudness of Unsaid Things in a minute.
Yeah.
Before we do that, because this is behind the book, we'd just like to have a bit of a shoot the breeze about you and to let our audience know a little bit about who you are, where you come from, and what's going on in your world today.
Yeah. Well, yeah, my name's Hilde. Basically, I'm a family-based person, and me and my two siblings, Connie and Sam Johnson, started a charity called Love Your Sister, which you may or may not have heard of, where Sam rode a unicycle around the country for 12 months to raise money for cancer research. And since then, we've raised $10 million for research. I was very much a engine room part of it. I was there the whole way along, but definitely in the engine room. And I've sort of come out of the engine room a little bit. Went on the road with Sam last year, which was a very eye-opening experience. And it was really after my sister, who lost her battle with cancer, it was after she died that, I don't know, I was at a bit of a loss. I didn't really know what to do with myself. I was hanging out with Sam on the back porch. He didn't really know which direction to take the charity. So he was a bit lost too, because what do we do without our queen? So I gave him a push along. He'd already asked me to contribute some articles to the Stick magazine, which was associated with Love Your Sister. Believed in my writing and squared up and said, you need to get off your ass, basically. You're hiding behind obligation. The kids are grown. You're not too old. You can do it after work. Get off your backside and do it. And really, that little leg up reminded me of that niggle I've always had in my brain, that I wanted to write a book. And we've all got those niggles, whether it's climbing a mountain or, you know, writing a book or painting or, you know, learning to do something different, learning a language. It doesn't matter what it is. It's never too late. And I've proved that. And for the next 8 months, I wrote after work, and still cannot believe that, that the book's out and it all actually happened. And basically, you know, that's kind of how we do things in our family. We're always pushing each other to make sure we do better and live up to our own expectations. And yeah, so that's how it all came about.
So you mentioned Love Your Sister and
Yeah,
your gorgeous sister Connie and
yeah.
Samuel. Now, for those who aren't familiar with Boomer Babes Life as a community, why not? But Love Your Sister is our a charity partner for Boomer Babes Life. So everything that we do at Boomer Babes Life, online and offline, that is fundraising, that all goes to Love Your Sister. So we're really proud to be a part of that as well. So now you live in Melbourne.
I do.
Victoria, in Australia.
Yeah.
And my sources tell me that you have a home that you come through one door and when you leave out the other door, you're a totally different person. How does that work? What happens in your house?
Okay, so it's called the Prestonian Institute for the Temporarily Defeated. And so the House for the Temporarily Defeated goes way back. It goes back to when my sister was about 14 and had a falling out with Dad and decided she was just going to go out and move out. And I said, well, come and live with me, because I'd left home at a young age and I didn't want her to go through the similar sort of hardships. So she moved in, and all of a sudden there just seemed to be a rolling sort of group of girls coming through that were having arguments with their parents or just needed a temporary place to regroup. And I never said no. And that's sort of how it started. I think at one point we had 7 at once.
Wow.
So it started there. Then I had my kids, and then their friends started coming through, or people who've heard of us. You know, one person said, you know, go and stay at Hilde's, and we try to have people leave slightly better than they came. And there's been a couple of permanent stayers. Connie's friend Emma, who came when she was 14, is still very much an entrenched part of our family.
Oh, wow.
And young Hawley, who moved into our bungalow about, he said it was 5 years now.
Oh.
He actually came on the road with Love Your Sister and did an incredible job. So,
wow.
So that's the House for the Temporarily Defeated.
Wow. Yeah. It sounds amazing. And it also, it adds to the fabric of your beautiful character, because I think that has just shown us another layer of exactly who you are. And I have to say, again, we were talking off air, but your debut book, The Loudness of Unsaid Things, reveals a lot within this, I must say. Now, it's, as I mentioned, is your debut book, right?
Yeah.
So how challenging, now you've just shared with us that, you know, it was about 8 months and Sammy Gasser had to give you the kick up the bum and, you know, the whole thing. And you were writing it, you know, in your breaks at work and all around the place. How challenging was it to put what you wanted into this book in the way that you've done it?
It's definitely very autobiographical. It's not all autobiographical. It's definitely got a lot of fiction in there too. So I made the decision that it had to be all of me or it wouldn't work. So it delves into being the child of a mentally ill mother with a single father. It describes this girl having, she has to go and visit her mother every fortnight regardless, whether she's in the Housing Commission flat or the Mind Hospital. And the real life memories are quite, there's not a lot there, but I remember sort of mostly feeling like it was on this magical adventure a lot of the time. So even though some of it was quite confronting and unusual, we were always doing things that no other parents did with their kids, you know. I told her once that Mesopotamians, because I learned it at school, sleep on stone pillows. So she just grabbed her bag and we went out to parks and we lay on all the rock pillows and, you know, pretended we were ancient Mesopotamians. And so even though there was some difficult times, there were also some really magical journeys. And I just wanted to put being a family member of somebody with mental illness firmly on the table, because we're discussing a lot in society. We've got Beyond Blue, but we're not talking about the people around the illness and the tentacles of it Because when you're going through it, you feel alone, and you're not alone. And so I definitely wanted to bring that to the forefront and do it in a sort of charming way that does have its tragedy, but also has its fun and its magic. And I think I found that balance. Yeah.
Having read it from cover to cover, and I'm actually just halfway through reading it again, I have to say, in my personal opinion, you have achieved that. And I think it's really clever the way that you've written this, in that, yes, it is, as you said, it's autobiographical.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, I left school at 15 too.
Well, it's a tongue twister for anyone.
but the way that you've wrapped it up in the storyline it sets it apart, Hilde. I feel personally, it sets it apart from a book about mental illness, or those around it. And honestly, I can recommend, like, everybody, once you start reading this, I think you'll understand what I'm trying to say here, because it really, really does. What's your hope for this book, Hilde?
I hope it reminds adults of what it's like to be young, because we think we remember, but we don't. And because I've been surrounded by young people and having my house temporarily defeated, I've got it around me constantly. I still have it. And I think we form judgments, and we want to teach our children the lessons that we've learnt the hard way. And it's not that simple, because they've got to do it themselves. And if you're talking to them and you're hitting a brick wall, don't just let it slide. Find a new way to communicate, because it's not easy being young. And also, when you're young, you've got that you belong in the world, and that the world's an exciting place, and it's time for the world to get used to you. And you need to adjust your sort of parenting style and your communication style as your kids hit those years, or you just lose them.
Yeah.
So we follow Susie through her teenage years, where she leaves home because of a breakdown in the relationship with her father. There's just growing piles of unsaid things in between them, and they can't work through it. And I think it's a very common story. It happens in most families. And although the kids don't necessarily leave home, it can take until the kids hitting the mid-20s before these things get resolved. And if we're just a bit more patient and a little bit more listening, and not judgmental, I think relationships with our young can be improved. And I just really wrote this from the eyes of a child, and wanted to remind people of what it's like, and to take care of their own in maybe a different way than they would have.
Yeah. Is there a second book in the pipeline?
Yeah, well, I'm actually working on 2 projects at the moment. I'm working on my second novel, which is not at all autobiographical. But I'm also working with Sam on a book for Love Your Sister to raise money for cancer research. And it's going to be called Heroes Next Door. And what happened when I went out on the road with Love Your Sister is I was just meeting all these people at all these community events. And the Love Your Sister community, our village, is such that when you rock up to an event, there's no hello, no introductions, just straight into each other's arms. There's no need for small talk. It's just straight down to business. And it made me realise that everybody has a story, and we're publishing a few of them on social if you want to go and check them out. And then we're doing call outs for people to dob in their mates who've done something extraordinary. It doesn't, I mean, there's the woman who in the country who runs marathons, and she gets her whole community to write the names of their dead on her shirts.
Wow.
And she runs for them, and she just raises funds that way. So it doesn't have to be, this big groundbreaking thing, because all these things represent the heroes we've got in our streets and the heroes next door. So we're hoping to have that out by Christmas, so keep your eyes out for it. And I'm loving meeting these people. I mean, these days it's on the video, and sort of translating their stories, and I think it's going to be great for fundraising, but it's also going to be a great reminder to people that it's not about celebrity. You know, it's really about the people, the everyday people in our streets. Yeah.
Everyone has a story.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, I'm excited to hear about that because, of course, when that gets published, when that gets launched, we'll have you and Sammy
absolutely
back on. He can be an honorary Boomer Babe Shero Unlimited.
Yes, 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 he can.
We'll let him on.
I reckon.
And of course, we'll be putting everything out for that book as well, as we already are with this through our community. And underneath this video, there'll be all the contacts so our audience can actually go and start reading those stories that you've got online for that project. That'll be great.
If I can be a bit cheeky, if anyone has one, just email me, Hilde, Hilde, @loveyoursSister.org. You know, if you don't feel that it's you, but you know it's somebody you know, then dob them in, and we can take it from there. So anybody can email anytime. So call out more stories.
I hope your capacity on your email is really big. because especially I think it's really interesting. Have you found this as well? And I know that you found it when you were on the road with Sam, right?
Yeah.
But have you also found it like through the bushfires and of course with COVID, that you know the personal stories and the people next door are just rising up?
Yeah. I'm actually looking for first responder stories at the moment. They seem to be a bit difficult to reach because they don't put their hands up and they're a bit shy. But yeah, any first responders, but anything overall. But especially in these times. I mean, gosh, all those fires, we've got drought. We've got all the things that people have forgotten about while we're focusing on the virus that are still going on. There's still cancer. There's still drought.
Exactly.
And it's been a rough 12 months. And you know, I hope what we're doing it can be somewhat uplifting to people in the end.
Yeah, absolutely. I want to ask you a final question. Actually, I've got two. I'm sneaking one in that I didn't talk to you about, because you just made me think of it. But my final question for you is: if you had an 8-year-old Hilde sitting in front of you right now, what would you say to her?
Well, I'd probably give her a big hug. You know, so I was kind of an isolated child at about that age because Connie and Sam hadn't come along yet, and I was an only child with sort of fairly distracted parents, which was how it was back then. We didn't live vicariously through our kids back then, you know. So I'd give her a hug and just remind her not to be too hard on herself. Because you know, I think you do that especially as a kid, as you have all the feelings and everything, you know, sort of affects you so much. So I'd tell myself not to be hard on myself. That's what I'd say.
Awesome. Aniseed ice cream. Not giving anything away. Not giving anything away. People,
I haven't found anything.
Read the book, but I have to ask you,
where
do you get it?
I haven't been able to. It sort of disappeared with the spearmint milkshakes. Like, where are they these days?
I forgot spearmint milkshake.
Yeah, it's one of those flavours that's just gone now. And I loved aniseed ice cream more than the world.
Wow.
And I literally haven't been able to find any for years. These days it's all about the pear gelato. Which isn't so bad. But if anyone knows where to get any, let me know.
Absolutely. So there's a big call out. If you've got the recipe, a really good, easy, simple recipe that somebody in Hilde's house can make for her.
Yeah, well, that could be them, not me.
Because she's way too busy now.
Yeah.
Again, send the recipe to Hilde at loveyoursSister.org.au, and she would be ever so grateful for that. The debut book, The Loudness of Unsaid Things. Hilde Hinton has written an amazing first book. As I mentioned before, you can get this right now. Just go to our website. We've got the direct links there for you. You can go read this month's, the May issue of Boomer Babes Life magazine. Has an incredible extended story, beautiful interview that our editor-in-chief, Astra, did with Hilde. That is in the May issue of Boomer Babes Life magazine, again with all of the links to get this amazing book. Hilde, thank you so much for being my guest on our very first new series. Look, it's great. And the official invitation, when the next book is ready to be launched.
Yep. You'll be my first email.
Thank you so much. Huge love. Thank you so much for being on this. And
thanks for having me.
You're amazing. We love you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.